Hi, gang, and welcome to Behind the Rhinestones. I am your host, Dinah Dare, and on this channel, we are going to be chatting to various burlesque and cabaret performers and just getting a bit of a sneak peek of life behind the rhinestones. So, if you are interested in what it is that we're chatting about here, please do like and subscribe as there is so much more planned that is coming. But I'm really, really pleased to say that we have someone who is really leading the charge on setting up what community will look like for us, particularly in the United Kingdom in burlesque. So, welcome to the show, Seren Dippity. Hi, Seren. Thank you so much for being on the show today. I'm really
Oh,
happy that you're here, and you look wonderful, by the way.
oh, it's only for you, Dinah. I put the blue on especially for you.
Oh, I feel so special. I feel bad now for literally only having put on a little bit of concealer and then just really praying for the good light in here to do the rest of the work for me.
Just like that. This just shows my proper potato mode. This is like a 3-hour job.
Oh, I love it. I feel blessed. I feel blessed. We've kind of chatted a bit before, but like you've had a fair ride, I would say, the past month in the world of burlesque, which we will get into a little bit. But I always like to ask all of my guests a bit about how they actually started. So, like, how did you get into burlesque?
So burlesque is sort of like I've been asked this question quite a few times on a podcast, and it turns out my first experience of proper burlesque was when I was 11. I went to Benidorm with my parents, and we
Hmm.
went to this bar. And it was where Sticky Vicky had a residency, it turned out. My parents, being very, very responsible parents, sent me and my sister out when she was about to come on,
Yep.
and uh, and explained everything afterwards once they were severely hungover what happened. Um, but that was sort of like it was like, oh, tell little thing, and it was like shock when I was 11, and then my proper when I was an adult, knowing of burlesque was there was a program which Dawn Porter was like investigating. She was investigating femme bodies,
Yep.
and how to cope in the world as a feminine person. And she went to the London Academy of Striptease with Joe King and did a striptease
Nice.
class. And she was like really nervous, and Joe was absolute godsend to her. She was lovely. Joe taught her all the stuff, and she's like, and in the class, can I just do this instead with like a boa, wrapped a boa? And Joe went, no, that's crap. And then Dawn Porter did the showcase at the London Academy of Striptease that night, did a 2-hour class, and then did a case, and she got her boobs out, and it was amazing. And I was like, oh my God, good for her. And I was like, and then she did this whole thing with getting naked with me and was on a London bus and having just like pasties and a merkin on. And so that was my real first experience of it. And then the first live experience of burlesque was back in 2009. I used to do a lot of touring with bands, and I was really, really with live music because I'm a sound engineer. And there was a band called Johnny Cave and the Voodoo Groove in Cardiff, and this guy's coming on. It's all beautiful. This guy's got like silky, smooth vocals, and you're just in love with him. And you're like, oh my God, this is amazing. Going along, and they all disappear. The band disappear, and next thing you know, a stripper comes on, like doing burlesque, and it's a proper burlesque routine. So it was. I don't know the name of the performer. I wish I did know her because she was like really, really a huge part of my journey. And she had this amazing Red Riding act to Big Bopper's Chantilly Lace. And it was all Wolsey red, and she was Red Riding Hood. So she took off her clothes. And it was amazing. And I was like, okay, well, there's a pair of boobs. And and I started getting into vintage. I really enjoyed pin-up quite a lot. I've always admired pin-up, and I was really, really getting into it just before my wedding. And I won one of those photo shoots that you have to pay a lot of money for.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
Yeah, that you pay a lot of money for. And I was working as a very, very masculine job at the time. As I said, being a sound engineer, I was working for a theatrical hire company. And as I won this photo shoot, I was looking kind of like this, but better with a makeup artist. And I this advert came up for my local town for come and learn burlesque, and I was like, well, I look vintage, and I know they're interlinked, so why don't I just? And I just like, oh, it's obviously a sign, so I'll just message the teacher. And I said, look, I'm a bit nervous. Like, I used to be a dancer. Da 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 da. I said, first of all, I'll look after you. Second of all, just don't worry about it. And she had me in 5 minutes. I like literally, I was like, oh my God, I love this so much. I've never loved something so instantly. And yeah, I was absolutely hooked. But what it was, because where I live in Somerset, it was like a lot of WIs and like sort of privatey parties. But I didn't realize how big the industry was until after she stopped teaching, which was a year after I began. And when she said, I'm not doing it anymore, I can't do it, yeah, I'm done. I was like, I can't leave it. Then all of a sudden, sort of like, she's like, well, here you go, push me through this big door. And it's like, wow, look at all of this. As she, like I said, I've got feathers. And look at all of this. And that is how I really got into burlesque, how, like, when it sinks your teeth into you and it never lets go. That is what happened to me.
Just like I'm here for life.
Yes, yes, as you can see by my wrinkles.
Not at all. Not noticeable. I adore your name. How did that come about?
So turns out it was a bit subliminal. And I am so obviously years and years ago, my mum is a huge religious fanatic.
Okay.
Well, she is and she isn't. She's reasonable. You can talk to her about stuff, she's very, but she's of faith. She's
Okay.
Christian and she's of faith. And we were watching a film called Dogma, which is
Oh,
a
I love that film.
do you know what the name of the stripper is? Salma Hayek's stripper's name is?
Yeah.
It's Serendipity.
Serendipity. Oh my God, that film is so good.
It's such a good film, isn't it? And my mum thought it was like, like, and she loved that film. My mum bloody loves that film as well. She
Yeah.
absolutely loves that film and can keep up with the swearing. And I didn't realise, like, when I came up with a name, because obviously I'm very Welsh, like literally cut me off and a dragon falls out. And I wanted something like I wanted a Welsh name. I wanted something that was really, really Welsh that I could claim as my own. And I was like, okay, Seren means star in Welsh, so I could play along the lines of Seren something, because I didn't want a coloured name, like, because I already had the nickname of Ruby Pyro, like when I was back in my rock band days. Um, and I was like, I don't want anything to do with that. Um, and so I was like, well, Seren, and I just went Serendipity. Oh, that sounds like a good name. Googled it, nothing, didn't even come up on the dogma thing until somebody pointed it out to me later on. And I was like, Googled it, and I was like, and I added the extra P because when it separates out, it looks as a better name. And that was it. I made the claim of Serendipity. Serendipity was born and she got her clothes off when she was about 20 stone. I was absolutely massive because I had my daughter 4 months before. So yeah, I was 4 months postpartum and I debuted in Taunton.
Girl, you were just like, fuck it, we're doing it.
Yep, that's pretty much it.
I love that. Considering especially like postpartum, I don't have kids, so I don't know. But I have friends that have had kids, and that kind of period of time, you're not necessarily comfortable with your body. So getting up on stage and showing the world this is what a postpartum body looks like as well it's an even bigger deal than the fact that we just get up on stage and take our clothes off.
I was stretch marks galore.
I love that. Did it feel did it feel good?
It felt amazing when I was done because I was like, I have sort of stepped up to be a person that I've always wanted to be.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of people talk about empowerment when they do burlesque, and that's great. I don't feel empowered. I feel at home.
Mm-hmm.
And it felt like I just like, I was honestly weirdly chilled, weirdly chilled before I went on stage. I was like, it's fine, it's going to be fine. Even if I mess up, I'm sure it's going to be fine. I did
Mm-hmm.
mess up, obviously. And
We all do.
and it was just there, if you know what I mean. I was just so in character, because I don't know how, considering I am, Miss ADHD. Take one look at me, it's just like sparkles all around me. um that I can slip into the character and slip back out. And obviously it's done. I was like, okay, yeah, I've done it, and it was amazing. Afterwards, like, proper, yeah, I did it. And my performance as well, it's actually not bad. I was like, I looked at it a few months ago because I had retired my first act. Actually, I retired it, and then I sort of, like, in a rehearsal studio the other day, had a go on it, and I bloody loved it. And it's kind of masculine. It's a very masculine routine, because it was like, it's a tuxedo, ripped away trousers, and a fedora. And so it's like, okay, but I want to feminize it. I really want to feminize that routine. So it may be coming back because I've got more of the experience. I know how to do the musicality a bit more, because I felt, and also I didn't realize as well, because I was so on my own when I first started, because my community had fallen apart. When I first started, because my teacher said, I'm not doing this anymore, and the teacher who sort of took over was like in 3 towns away. um I felt like I didn't have a community anymore, so I was like, oh, I just have to do everything by myself. And which I have now, it's taken me a long time. Now I feel I have more of a community, and therefore, when I'm building anything, I feel a lot more comfortable getting that feedback, workshopping it, doing the things I need to do in order to make a routine great. And making, again, I'm like doing fitness stuff as well, so I'm making my body feel great when I go on stage, rather than coming off stage now and feeling like a proper old lady, just like, oh my god, my back, what did I do with that? Why did I decide to jump in 4-inch heels?
I think there's so many things you've said that I want to pick up on, but just that last point about being like looking after your body while we dance as well. I do think that's something that people neglect. And I also think if you're an older performer, like I'm in my mid-30s and my hips are already a bit janky, so I have to make sure that I'm properly looking after my hips. So I do mobility exercises as part of like going to the gym. But I don't think people realise that, yeah, there is an element of you need to have a level of fitness to do what we do, and looking after ourselves is a massive part of that. So I love that you mentioned that, just because, yeah.
It is, absolutely, because I was like, I absolutely love swimming. Swimming is like my, it's like my proper downtime. I'm away from social media, because otherwise my phone would break. I am, and it's the only thing I can focus on. I don't even get like I haven't got the underwater headphones. I was like, no, I'm under the water, or I'm just doing it. And
Yeah.
literally, I feel that's when I feel empowered, because I can feel my body going, oh, thank God you're doing something productive for me. Thank God you're not just sitting on the sofa eating crisps once again.
That's what we do after shows when we get home.
Yeah, absolutely. Or just at the, drive through once again at 1 o'clock in the bloody morning.
Yeah. It's the life that we chose. It's the life we chose.
Yeah, feel
There's
your
a couple of
community.
things. There's a few things you said that I wanted to pick up on. One, you said that your mum is quite religious. How does she, is she supportive of what you do?
She is supportive of what I do, but she will never come and see a show.
Okay.
She said, I will never actively come and see a show, not because of the thing like that. She said, I just don't enjoy women prancing around like that. Even though my mum has done a version of the stripper as well, and she bloody told me about it. But my mum is really, really good. And then she, of course, then went, oh, didn't realise what a massive industry was until she happened to
Yep.
come across the documentary that Modesty Blaze made.
Yep.
And it's like big sellout theatres and everything as well on Vegas. So she's like, why don't you do that? Because I don't have the bloody money. Simple
Yeah,
as.
and no one pays for us to have the money to do that here either.
No, exactly. This does not happen in the UK. And she's like, well, could you do that? I said, yes, I
Yes.
could do that if I had the money, you know. And I was like, I could do all that. It's like, that is an element of what I do. And then I showed her somebody, a good friend of mine, who was one of my tutors as well, was Lady Lolly Rouge. And she's like she's quite thin and slender. She was of that frame, and I showed her a Pretty in Pink act, and she wiggled her bum, and my mum went, absolutely not, no, doesn't do a thing for me, no. And I saw my mum's face physically change.
Yeah.
Oh, and it's like she'll happily talk about me. She'll happily say, my daughter's a stripper or my daughter's a burlesquer. And there's one time my mum was on a training course because my mum's a nurse, and she was just talking away going, my daughter does burlesque, it's like the two things one lie thing that they have to do. And she's like,
Yes.
yeah. So she came up with like, my daughter's a burlesque performer. And there was a do-take course, and apparently this woman came up to her the next day and going, you said your daughter was a burlesque performer. She isn't, she's a burlesque queen, like that. And I was like, amazing. And apparently people come up to her all the time in her hometown and going, your daughter, what she does is bloody amazing. She is an amazing person. Apparently, that's what my mum says. And so she's like, it's just like, your daughter needs to keep up what she's doing because this is amazing. I was like, oh, okay. Come see a show
It's,
sometime, Mum.
that's super sweet. At least she's willing to support even if she won't be there, right?
She's bought me costume pieces.
That's all we want.
Yeah.
Honestly, someone could not come see me and buy me costume pieces. I'd be fine with that.
That'd be fine. I'm
That'd
just
be
like,
fine.
yeah, just tip me in costume pieces and I don't ever have to meet you.
No, it's what it's costume sugar daddy,
Oh my God, right.
right?
Right.
We need to get an advert out. It's happening.
Yeah.
As I alluded to at the start of our chat as well, and you kind of touched on it a little bit, like it sounds you were at a period where, as you said, you didn't have community, and now you have such a community. And part of that has been that you've really stepped up. You saw a space, and yeah, you did. You saw a space in the UK scene, and you were like, no, instead of letting someone else step into here, I'm going to do it. So you've created a new Facebook group
Mm-hmm.
4 or 5 weeks ago now.
Yes, 4 weeks ago, yeah.
Yep. So called United Burlesque.
Burlesque United Kingdom,
Burlesque
yeah.
United, always the wrong way around. And last I checked, it had over 600 members, which is
Mm-hmm.
amazing. It's absolutely grown so quickly. Everyone was desperate for this. Why did you decide to do it?
So, going back a few weeks ago when burlesque and the cabaret scene in the UK started going down the ultimate shitter,
It
um,
went,
it just
"Ooh."
it's all like went. So absolutely. So back in December, I was in a show called Untamed, which is run by my friend Violent May. And Violent May is an amazing human, an amazing person. And I love them desperately. Honestly, I love them. And but a venue owner made a lot of derogatory comments about the show, about us cast, and particularly about the headliner and calling their body grotesque, and they are a trans performer.
Yep.
And Violet made the right thing and called them out. Absolutely. as literally, honest to God, what they've done is literally they have set this. They have literally lit the match to this whole thing. The headliner mix cyanide is just there going, this is just not acceptable. This is, I am a human being. This is not acceptable. And it was all, everybody was coming in support of Violent May and Mix and calling us the cast. We were just like, so we, you know, we are diverse. It was described as diversity, equality, and inclusion on steroids. So we're making it a thing. I just couldn't keep my mouth shut anymore about it all, especially when the person who runs World Burlesque Day stepped in, said some comments in agreement with this, with the venue owner, saying, "Well, I agree with them. You owe them gratitude because they let you put on burlesque shows here." Instead of just, and to play devil's advocate was the actual quote. So it's a bit of a trigger sentence within the cabaret community in the UK at the moment. I literally just like, I was just seething, just bubbling, seething about it. And I just went, I can't stay silent about this. I can't. And lots of people were reacting about my like subtle stories about that I was making. And then I just opened my gob. I just went, I don't support World Burlesque Day because of this. And they retaliated in a way of calling police action, which they still have not said the case reference number. So I'm still waiting for the police. So I'm still waiting. I am genuinely still waiting. I do look outside my window every now and then, and and it all doubled down, and everybody just went whoosh onto it. And literally my life exploded, and lots of people were messaging me, asking me information. Here's the information that I have, da da da. If you want to do a thing, please go here, please go here, da da. Next thing you know, I am on a phone call with Bella Sin over in Ohio, going, oh my God, what the. And then literally I was like, in the next day I was in my car because I was like, again, I was like, right, I need to go for a swim to go and process what's going on. And literally, and then Bella was doing a live, and literally I was like, I was going on, I said, oh, you can come on if you want. I'm post swim in my car. They're doing their makeup, and I'm looking like a red-faced beetroot, going, giving all this information, talking on an international stage, going like literally looked like I had been pushed on stage, going, and I was like, oh my God. It's sort of like, I'm just having this conversation, but I was like, I've got to be honest, I've got to do this now. I have to do this now. And then apparently, and lots of people obviously sending me lots and lots of screenshots of what the owner of the World Burlesque Day person was saying, and we were all waiting this big old statement that was supposed to happen, and it didn't, and everybody was so disappointed because the popcorn went stale. Everybody was so deflated on the Saturday night. And then on happened to be happening on the Sunday. I went looking because I was just being nosy, and I just went and looked on this particular Facebook group that everybody used, had 5,000 members as Performers UK, and it'd been archived because somebody had asked, can you please take this person out of your group because they're transphobic, and the owner said, I'd rather archive the group than be told what to do. And everybody went, who is this person anyway? Nobody knew who it was. And it was just like, who is this person? And then literally then all of a sudden, as everybody's trying to process what's going on, the statement went live. So everybody's like, oh my God, the statement, get the stale popcorn in your face. And I was like, oh my God. But then I was like, well, it's been archived. And and then somebody said, make a space. And I went, okay. That's it. I just went, sad Facebook group, just ADHD, hyperfixation, just, ooh, the cat is going wild. And literally, and I just put United Kingdom. And I was like, that is a brilliant name, brain. Thank you for showing up for once. And it's literally, and I just thought, oh, 60 members maybe may join. All of a sudden, it's just, ooh.
it snowballed so quickly. I can't even remember who added me to it, but I just got added to it and then I added people to it.
Yeah.
And it just everyone started like introducing themselves. It was so sweet.
It was all done, yeah, absolutely. Because I just put a picture of me again, just in my Nessa wig, just semi Nessa with a KFC bucket, just going, "This is just a new group for the United Kingdom," and then everyone was like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, hi, hi, hi," and it was all. There's been no malice so far with it. We've had a couple of little niggles, obviously, as we're learning to go on, because I don't want it to be like other Facebook groups that's been before it
Yeah,
is so like trying to make trying to make it ooh, ooh, ooh. It's like and it's just I because I literally don't have the mental capacity for it. But what I would like to for it to achieve is again it's inspired actually by you, Dinah, actually, but when the conversation that we had is going
you.
is so for example I'm putting on a body doubling session tomorrow night,
Yeah,
and it's people who want to be held accountable to get those jobs done and need to get done if they need a space for it.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I know there's a class in April as well, isn't there? There's an online class happening.
Yep, online
Um,
classes. So we have our admins who are coming in to do it. We have people who are asking to speak in it.
Amazing.
Um, so we got like Roxy Stardust has asked to talk about Fringe, which I think, yeah,
Yes.
she wants to just give information about Fringe and what it's truly like.
Yep.
We have had people who have just like it's been warning, warning, do not go near this producer, and
Yep.
that is open and honest conversations, which has
Yeah.
been totally missing from our scene for a long, long, long time. Because
Yeah.
we're all doing all these stage whispers, but we're not having the open and honest conversations, and lots of people are being failed because of that.
Yep.
And it's been and I think because people are feel free to express themselves within the group without being targeted,
Mm.
they are genuinely the right conversations are happening. And um sometimes it's a bit much and it's overwhelming. This is all a bit overwhelming for everyone, I think, right now. And I've been trying to be as humble as I can about this because I was like, I'll take any advice from anyone at the moment. I'm like, whoa, and it's just like yeah, I've been put in this position and I'm more than happy to be put in this position because I'm a gobby cow. And I've been put in this position and I don't want to do this going it's mine, it's mine, it's mine. It's not, it's everyone's. The group is for everyone who is there, who is working within the cabaret scene, who is trying to work in the cabaret scene. We are making sure we're blocking out people who are like, oh, I really like a burlesque show. I went to one burlesque show about 10 years ago and I want to join in. And from Dodgy Dave from Stoke or whatever. Um, and we want to make it as a working group that people know who each other are, that we're not afraid to talk to more professional performers. Because
Yep.
again, I think we can idolize them a lot, and then we forget that they're also human,
Yep.
and that it's hopefully that the way it goes, it does break down barriers that we actually have a working community. But what I just, like I said, I just don't want is that, people who are coming in these classes, for example, who's taking out their time. That's why we set up a tip jar straight away so that they get some form of payment. And it's obviously a donation, it's a donation only thing. But we're setting a standard for everyone so that there is some form of you give something and the group gives something back to you.
And I think that's an important thing because when we've talked previously, when we just kind of chatted you and me about community,
Mm.
it is about not just a take, it is a give and take, and it is everyone coming together. And I do feel like there's such a desire for community within burlesque. We are all on our own. We
Hmm.
are solo performers, and
Yeah,
we are, at the end of the day, there's an element of competitiveness because we're all going for the same slots.
yeah,
But it should be more about how do we support each other and make the industry better so we all get work.
Yes, exactly. Especially as we're having so many venues shut down. We're obviously making sure that obviously a lot of bad producers are getting called out. So if the producers are getting called out as well,
Yep.
that does mean less shows, because obviously we're trying to rule out the baddies. Um, we are trying to make sure, but what we obviously need to do is getting, like, just knowing, knowing the hierarchy. There are like lower paid shows, like door split shows are great for that kind of thing. If you want to get local talent and everything as well. You want to be able to work on something and use it as like a scratch night, and that's great. Obviously the medium shows where you sort of like small rep theatres and everything as well. As much as we'd love to fill out the Palladium, as much as we'd love to do that, but more established performers and established shows, we just want to make sure that they feel loved as well, and it's like people are just promoting their work in the group, and so people are actually seeing it, because there's a lot more concentrated, because there's only 600 of us so far.
Yep.
I believe that a lot more is being seen than the 5,000 that was before. And what we need to do now really is enable producers to give them the right guidance, if they ask for it, in order to grow their shows, so that they can have bigger and better lineups. They can have more intricated lineups as well, so making sure that there's people of color, making sure there's disabled people, making sure that there's an older person, making sure that there's a nice plus size person potentially. So we got nice diverse cast as well, instead of the skinny lineups that seems to be happening all around the southwest.
It seems to be happening everywhere. But I agree, like while you were chatting, my brain was doing this, as it always does when I'm chatting to people. Oh, everything sparks. A couple of things you said. I like that you're breaking down the barrier and that those established performers are getting to talk to everyone else. It's something that I try and do in my local community. I've been doing this for 6 years. I go to local shows. I'm going to see a student showcase on Thursday, because I like to try and be there and support and let these newbies know that, like, I'm here and I want you to do well. And also, like, I can, if they've got questions, I'm happy to answer.
Yeah.
And I think that's really important, because it can be really scary when you do see these people and you're like, and we do put people on pedestals. And I think what's happened in the US last week, I don't know if you followed that drama.
Yes. No, my popcorn was right there.
Oh, same.
Yeah.
But that's someone that I have looked up to for a very long time personally as a performer. I got to see them perform on my 30th birthday because I was in New York, like, and that was a massive deal for me.
Mm.
To see that was disheartening, but it was also reminding me that they are human and they will make mistakes. So we're being like, oh, this and that. For anyone that's watching or listening that doesn't know what we're talking about, essentially a previous winner of Miss Exotic World, which is our biggest title, essentially,
Mhm.
um, put a thing online, essentially annoyed that a previous category that had existed, which was Best of Burlesque, winners for that were now allowed to compete for Exotic World,
Mhm.
whereas previous winners of Miss Exotic World are not, but that's because Best of Burlesque was not considered as the same level as Miss Exotic World.
Yeah.
I was talking to another performer about this literally earlier today, voice notes, we were chatting about it, and I didn't know the intricacies of the rules. So when I first saw the story, I was kind of like, oh, maybe they've got a point. And that's kind of part of the problem with when we put these performers on pedestals, is we then take their word as gospel.
Yeah.
So breaking down those barriers and having more of a conversation,
Mhm.
feeling like you can challenge or you can ask them,
Yeah.
just feels a lot nicer. And I feel like that's the community that you're creating just now online doesn't feel hierarchical. It feels like everyone is allowed a voice and everyone is allowed to ask each other questions. And there's no, well, I know better than you sort of chat. People are genuinely coming at it with empathy and kindness and a desire to help.
I think it is. I think it's hopefully that people are genuinely feeling that as well. I need to probably do like a focus group feedback, which I will get round to. But it's what I don't want is like have it okay, have an ego, that's fine. If you're doing amazing at what you're doing and you're getting all this stuff, that's fantastic for you. But don't forget there's other people who have genuinely struggled because like they're disabled or they are they that may have severe anxiety and can't get out of the house, but this is their whole world.
Yeah.
So actually having a conversation, again, just opening that conversation. And when somebody asks you, how did you succeed so quickly? Well, I haven't, for example. They're going, okay, well, I did this, that, and the other. How about if you go to this person here, like, they may be able to help you and mentor you if there is a difficult subject that does come up, that we can do everything with honesty and kindness. That's all I ask for.
Mm.
And if it, and I hope, and I was praying, I know it sounds awful, but I hope it doesn't go the same way as the Big Brother, Big Sister group. I'm really hoping it doesn't come down to that. Um, because, and a lot of people, fair play, a lot of people are checking in with me, seeing how I'm doing. They're making sure that I think they're making sure my head hasn't done this, hasn't gone. Uh,
Which would be an easy thing to do. We talk about ego. Ego is massive in this industry. You can't get away from that.
yeah,
Um, and I think, yeah, you're running something that's huge. You've got massive, you were talking on international stages. I know you're not just chatting to me, you were on another podcast the other day. You're obviously getting a lot of attention, and I think it's fair that people are checking in, but you also seem pretty level-headed, love.
oh, I've got 2 kids. I haven't got time to be having an ego.
That's fair. Do they just knock that right out of you
They
if you've
don't. They
got a
just
bit?
don't. They just don't care. They don't care. So, but no, I don't have an ego because I was like I always go for the joke as well. My thing, my Neurospicy always goes for the joke. Um it's like I'm proud of my work that I do, and but that's my work, and it's okay to have somebody else have a different take on it.
Yeah.
For example, it turns out that the other week somebody had used the same song as me and used a glove peel that I taught them, and they went, I'm just going to use it in my show, and didn't not bother asking you. I was like, so I saw the footage. I went, oh, well, that's crap. So that's okay. I don't want my name associated with that.
You're like, never mind.
Yeah, no, exactly. I just went, I just don't have the energy for this fight today. And just like they're going, you can take that all to the time. I'm going to carry on teaching my thing because I've got the proof and everything as well if anybody comes after me. And I did ask for advice in the group as well, because I ask for advice as well.
Which
Because
I really like.
yeah, I don't know everything. And I want the conversation. I want people's opinions on something. And then like that panic, like I said, do I do this? Do I do this? Do I do this? I think it's genuinely the way, just by asking, but instead of like asking just the higher ups, ask somebody who may have done it, like who's been doing it less than 2 years, might have happened to them. You don't know. I just think that it's okay if people ask for advice, because sometimes you may just have a bad day and you just can't think because you're in the midst of all the crap, and somebody can just say, look, go and have a bath, and then you'll feel better after a bath or something, and you'll go, of course I'll go and do that, and it's somebody who you've never spoken to and never thought you ever would, and it's like, okay, well, that, and then you could congratulate them like in a few weeks later, going, do you know what, that bath changed my life.
Yeah.
You don't know, do you?
I approach it a little bit my day job. Like, if I don't know how to do something, or if my brain's just having a blank moment, like I have various like channels in work that I can post something out and ask for advice. And it's like, well, why wouldn't I? If I'm having to do a workshop or something that I'm maybe not sure of, and I'm like, do you know what? Has someone got a template for this that they've done before and it's really well? And I think we forget that we are colleagues.
Yeah,
Like we all work in the industry. We're all individual units, but essentially we're all working for the same industry. So we should share that knowledge. And I do like that we seem to be moving more that way as an industry in general,
Yeah,
which is
absolutely.
nice.
I think again, it's like just building it, do not trying to make it something so we're all trying, like, we're all desperate for something, but not trying to force it down people's throats is a huge thing for me.
Yeah,
It's definitely huge because it's just going again, people don't like, some people breathe rhinestones, and that's okay, and that's genuinely okay, but some people genuinely go, rhinestones aren't paying my bills at the moment, so I've got to go and focus on this,
yeah,
instead of like constant like 10 posts a day on, oh, there's this, there's this, which was happening obviously when Burlesque United first started. I was my brain hurts so much.
everyone was very excited. Everyone was very, they were like, look, it's a new shiny thing.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It was like, ooh. And then it was, and people have lives, It's like, it's just there as a resource. That's all I wanted to be, is there as a resource. And if anybody's got a problem, they can go to the group rather than going to an individual, because sometimes an individual may or may not have the right answer. That's the thing, isn't it? Going to a mentor constantly, they may be slightly out of touch, but a group
Yeah.
isn't.
There's also, this is my cup half empty mindset
Mm,
of if you're always going to the same person, you might think they've got your best intentions in heart, but how many stories is there in this industry of people who it turns out that their teachers or mentors were sort of actively holding them back for one reason or another?
yeah.
So having a group of people or a community to go to just opens a lot more doors and perhaps opens eyes as well, which is a positive thing, I think.
I definitely think it, because we've seen, I was at a show last year, and literally me and this other performer that we're quite good friends with were cheering on the new, quite newer performers.
Mhm.
And we were pretty shocked because this was like, it was the audience participation game, and this woman came up and groped another lady, and we went, whoa, that's not okay. So we were like, that's not, and the lady who was got groped was like, and then turns out that it was the performer's teacher who did that, burlesque teacher who did that. And we went, and then we went, actually, yeah, when we were performing, arms crossed, didn't work, didn't do anything. Was really, and because we got this gig off our backs, not through her. She's really annoyed. She's come to check on us. And we were like, that is not okay. You realize that's
But
not
it
okay.
happens all the time.
Yeah. And it was just like absolutely mortifying. And people as well, it's just like, it's this territory thing
Yeah,
as well. Go, well, I've built this up from the ground, so this is my thing. I'm like, yeah, great. Okay, that's fine. But I'm doing something different to you. So why is this a problem?
yeah. Again, ego.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
It's,
so much.
I know
Oh,
it sounds awful. It does sound awful, but when it's a feminine energy led something, I'm all here for you until you're doing better than me.
yeah. That's
That's
the
it.
energy.
That is the energy, and it's what it needs to change. It genuinely does need to change.
Yeah,
And it's really, really sad that it does come to that, going, what, I don't get me wrong, I'm not dismissing anybody's work, that is your work, unless it is full of hatred and it is racist or transphobic. It is valid, unless it's all those things that you know
yeah,
discriminate people. Your work is completely valid. um but there's plenty to go round. There's more performers than there is shows. Don't diss other people's show.
yeah. But you kind of touched on they are sort of yeah. Not everyone lives and breathes rhinestones. You and me, perfect example of that. How do you personally balance the day job and the sparkle?
So, well, to be honest, when there's no sparkle, there's guitars in my house. So it's kind of like, I am really lucky with my day job. My day job is also with a friend of mine, and she understands that also I'm serendipity. That's kind of
Yeah.
like my forefront, and it's only a 3 hour day job. So, right, but my husband, he is the breadwinner. He works for an entertainment company.
Okay.
He works for a theatrical supplier, and so it's kind of like, they've all done it. They've supplied like London Pride. We're the London Eye, working at the London Eye and Marking Midnight was a real special gig that we did together. For Brian Cox, Professor Brian Cox, that was pretty cool. And Gary Barlow. Um, yeah, who else did I do? When I met Nick Park and was the show caller for Nick Park's the Grommet auction, and I met Nick Park and I literally nearly cried because I said, "Me and my dad love you really, really much. Can I have a photo with you?" It was really embarrassing. Um, but so that is really, really great because it's only, my day job is only now 3 hours a day, and
Okay.
it's not, we're in that blessed position where I can do that. Hen parties do take up a lot. I also teach hen parties. If you need a hen or a special person to come to your event and everything as well, I am available and I do fly. And I am really lucky with that. That's also part of my income as well. And also I do audio editing. Because obviously being a sound engineer, I have access to the software. I understand how songs work. I understand how burlesque acts work, how cabaret acts work. So I'm really, really blessed to have actually made quite a few now. But so doing the audio work as well, and just when I can hear it at a show, I'm like, I did this. I did this. And I'm not quiet about it either. I was like,
If
that's
you're
me.
screaming it, me,
Yeah,
that was
yeah.
me.
That's going, who did your audio? I don't care because it's promoting business.
Yeah.
Promoting my business, and what I want to be able to like to go in. Look, I do have these skills. I don't want to lose these skills.
Yeah.
Um,
You do a bit of producing as well, do you not?
I do a little bit of producing. I've gone from this producing to this producing is ridiculous. So I was like talking to my good friend, fantastic Miss Fanny, who's kind of like
Mhm.
she's like a big sister to me. She's hilarious. I bloody love her. And she's full of good advice as well. She's really, really good advice. She's got really down to earth as well. And then she'll just chuck in this ridiculous dirty sentence in the middle of something and has me howling. I love it. And we're just talking about it, like, we talk about the Bristol scene, because the Bristol scene was so much vibes, like before the pandemic. We had so many
Yeah.
amazing stuff. We had Cootie Crunch that was run by Tuesday Laveau and Discharge. We had the Copperfield Cabaret, and we had loads of bits like that were happening around, but it's gone ever since the pandemic. It's really drag and circus acts, which is great. Yeah, fab, absolutely fab. But we also have a lot of burlesque performers who they're going, what about us?
Yeah.
Hello. So to be fair to Suitcase, of all people, she has been the only consistent show. But due to Bristol not investing in burlesque, it's still quite tiny. She's grown a bit. It's still quite small shows, and that's all she can do because it's her on her own now. And she's doing an amazing job. She's booked amazing acts. She does do it completely right, and she's bonkers, and I love her. And but there was this big old gap between Bristol and then there was the next set of shows, which is down in Bridgewater. So that's good 5 junctions on the M5 that has nothing. So I tried doing regular classes, but unfortunately, due to my childcare issues, I was just like, it just didn't work out. So I was like, well, I'll give producing a go. And that's what we need, is producing. And literally it's a show that's slowly grown, but people are constantly talking about it, which is great. And it's now been it's in a town called Weston-super-Mare, which is a lovely seaside town, a very, very kitchen sink drama, perfect kitchen sink drama. And it's also, which is now being renamed to, the show's now being renamed to Western Super Bear, as my good friend Whiskey Twist said. Why is it not called that? And I was like, I honestly don't know, and now it's called that. It's been very heavily burlesque. It's been heavily, because that's what I know. And then my husband is the resident performer who on the first show, bless his heart, because I was just like so disorganized. It was a lot my fault. It ran smoothly because me and my husband just know how to do backstage as well as front of house. And he was the tech, and he was performing, and also he was also the stage panther. The last show that we did is like, we've always wanted to perform together, and there's a song called Bouncy Druids by Mitch Ben, which is about the London 2012 Olympics. They wanted to make an inflatable Stonehenge, and then he wrote about it, and it goes bouncy, 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 bouncy druids. Idiot face here decided to go, you need to play that so that we can tassel twirl to that and join in. Didn't realise though how long it goes on for, and your boobs really hurt for a whole song.
They just driving going bouncy, bouncy, bouncy. I
Yeah.
could see it in my head, and I was like, oh, I'm a wee bit sore just thinking
I was
about
like,
it.
it's just when it goes up here, and you go kadunk.
Yeah,
Like,
especially you're well endowed, my love. So there's a
yeah,
lot going on there.
it was. And I was just like, and you know that fake teacher smile you have to do.
And you're like, I want to die.
Oh,
I want to die. I want to
oh,
die.
oh, why did I do this? I don't think it was funny, but it was funny. What did I do? And but so we've having some really nice moments, and some really nice, and also as well, I've been really concentrated on my casting, like making
Mhm.
sure I have everyone covered, and also as well who are also talented. I'm not gonna, don't want to put anyone who's not invested their time in their craft on my stage. So, and it's just like, having people like Elena Candela, who she's just an ultimate babe. She's just and she's nuts. She's absolutely nuts. I love her. And having, yeah, Elena Candela, I've had Lily Delfleur, I've had like friends. So I've had, particularly my last show was my 10-year anniversary as being Seren. So I was like, this is all about people who supported me, who I genuinely feel who are good friends of mine and everything as well. So, and then the next show will be in July for a nice summer show, because there's loads of people around, loads of people to do and things like that. So it's very summer themed. But I've got like a local drag queen who is called Carrie Sauce. So I was like, bring some drag into it. Let's incorporate the drag, especially as the local LGBTQ IA bar is closed. I'm gonna bring like I've got quite a few singers this time around, so it's quite nice actually. So I've got this amazing singer, Natalie sings, and she is phenomenal singer. I've got got plus size burlesquers. I've got POC drag artists. I've got like hula hoopers as well. So really bringing the cabaret this time, and um, but I do want it to grow. And then I ended up, well, to be fair, it was Burlesque Entertainment who used to run big burlesque shows down in Bridgewater and Taunton, in like the brew house in Taunton, approached me and said, can we do a burlesque festival together? And I was drunk at the time. And I said, yeah, okay. And I thought it was a joke. And then I put this whole thing up on Instagram about, the categories of the nights that I do. It was like dark side of the boob and all that lot. And I thought it was all a big joke. And then she went, and then we had a meeting, and I went, shit, this is happening. Oh shit.
Almost everybody was like, yeah, I would do that night or that night or. But people are keen because we don't really have, like, we've got Glasgow Festival, which I'm repping, and you are performing at very soon. Um, which is a great festival. We've got Hebden, which is obviously fantastic, and there's the
Mm.
Newcastle Festival as well. I'm trying to
Hmm.
think what else still exists. There's one in Wales, isn't there?
There's Wales had one last year, yes, which happens. It doesn't happen very often, because mostly because Fufu Labelle's really busy,
Fair.
more than anything. But we used to have Bristol Burlesque Festival, but Tuesday obviously and this have moved on to different projects. And obviously we don't talk about London. Uh,
We don't talk about London.
we don't talk about London.
I was purposely not mentioned. I was like, nope,
Nope, we don't talk about London.
nope.
Just so you know, listeners, we don't talk about London.
Uh-uh. Or any of their new names.
Any of the new names, please check out the Burlesque United group for more information.
Yes. I think on that, and obviously we've been talking about bad producers. And if we get rid of them, yes, there's less shows, but then there's more space for new producers.
Mm-hmm.
And you're kind of talking about expanding into like a new festival and things as well. But I'm hearing a lot of people when I'm speaking to them that are producing, it's a tough economy right now. And I've produced in the past and it was a reasonably big show. I think it was like a mid-sized show I did.
Mm.
And we did pretty well, but I wouldn't go anywhere near it right now
Mm.
because of the economy.
Yeah.
How do we encourage people to invest in shows that are not just door splits? Because everything that's popping up just now is door splits. And again, nothing wrong with it. I did a door split last night because I took a new act. But if we want more established shows, producers have to put their money where their mouth is. And in this economy, you're more likely to lose your money than anything else. And how do we still
Yes.
encourage people to do it?
I think the way of encouraging it is through getting education through sponsorship.
Mm,
So getting your education and how you can gain sponsorship from local businesses, which is what I wish I'll be doing. And
yes.
it's making the relationship of, hey, you've helped me out with this. Would you like your name and things like that as well? Because obviously, this, if you put it here, your name will get things like that. It's just knowing how to execute the sponsorship. I'm Lindsay McClone. She does do an amazing Instagram sponsorship for shows, seminar. She does do an amazing one. How she did it, because she secured £10,000 for her show Reclaimed,
Amazing.
and which she said I wouldn't have done it. I wouldn't have been able to do it without sponsorship. I wouldn't have been able to do
Mhm.
that show without it. And I think again, people are genuinely so afraid that people will say no that they don't go after it.
Or they don't know
Um,
how to.
they don't know how to. And I was speaking to a couple of people who went to the 100 Watch Club in Burnham, which is not too far from me. Um, and they said it was absolutely packed because they have great marketing. So
Yeah.
producers just need to invest in a marketing course, really, like a real good marketing course that has rated and everything as well. It's like Candy Kisses is a phenomenal burlesque for business educator. She's
Mm.
amazing at that. And she has obviously produced good shows. She's also does social media strategy. And that if you invest in that, and you just have to, like, obviously, if people are willing to put their money where their mouth is and willing to do the work, it is stressful, don't get me wrong, because you just like are literally about 2 weeks, no, about a month. You're thinking, I genuinely don't want to do this anymore. Why am I doing this? Nobody's
Yeah.
picking up because the market has changed so much because people will not buy early because they have Netflix, they have Disney Plus, they have all the entertainment they need at home.
Yeah.
And they got all the live streams that they have, everything now as well, with the National Theatre doing stuff. Why would they
Yeah.
go out and spend their really hard-earned money on something? But when you get somebody who can recommend going, well, honestly, I had the best time, and you will too. They go, yeah, okay. So it's getting people to sell. It's getting people to sell the show for you, and that's how the sponsorship will help. Which again, I really need to get my bum in gear for. And it's getting it, but you don't realize then that high that you get from producing. Going, actually, yeah, it's like not only did the group of people on stage have a good time, not only did I have a good time, you know, 40 people had an amazing time tonight, and they're going to talk about that. The venues need to help promote. The venues are the biggest asset because it's like going to sound awful now with my venue. My venue is a sort of like kind of self-run thing, and I use it as a private hire, so they will not promote me because I'm not doing it through them. I'm doing it as a private hire, and I notice the difference
Yeah.
because they're promoting whenever they promote their show and they say a sellout show, and my name is not mentioned at all, and I'm like, fine, that's okay. That's okay. You get your money and that's everything as well. But on the night, they are stunning. They are genuinely stunning, and they're lovely, lovely people. Um, but I do notice a huge difference when the venue is genuinely invested in what your event.
Is that the venue that you're going to be working with for this festival
Yes.
as well?
Oh no, no, no. We're working with someone
Oh,
else because it's too small for that. It's
right,
way
okay.
too small what we want to achieve, because we want to be able to have something um bigger for it. And I think I've got a way in as well, because there is a circus school in Western who come to me to talk about burlesque, and they do a lot of work in in the venue I want to go to. So I'm thinking, if we do a little exchange,
Yeah.
yeah.
Little
So
tip for tat.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. So that's what I'm hoping will work out. Like I said, I've got to get Easter holidays out of the way that I can do my
Yeah.
work.
And then it'll be sponsorships for the festival and your show. And I think talking about, I know you're saying there's a lot of good people out there that already do courses, but it's also maybe something to think about for the group as
Yeah,
well.
yeah,
Is sponsorship. Because I
yeah.
don't think it's definitely not something you see a lot of in
No,
Scotland.
it's just, yeah, just trying to, unfortunately, it's just trying to come up with creative ways just to get people to part with their money.
Yeah.
That, like, it's like I've got a very good friend of mine. Luckily, I've got a really good friend of mine who is so determined to sell out my shows. She's like, just give me the flyers. I will advertise anything I can. She's my beauty. She's my nail technician. She's one of my best friends, and she is just going, I will talk about it constantly. And I will tell every single one of my clients to come to your show. I'm like, yay, thank you.
That's what you need. I was actually chatting to another performer in
Mm,
my first interview, Debbie Deluxe, which is already up, and we were
yeah,
talking a bit about advertising shows. And outside of the Edinburgh Fringe, people don't flyer here.
no.
And we were sort of saying maybe that's something we need to bring back because we're just social media is just an echo chamber,
Mm.
and flyering definitely seems to be something that's just fallen out of fashion here. And I don't know about you're kind of talking about flying, like I don't know if it's more of a thing in your area, but it's definitely something that's fallen out of fashion here, and I do think it's maybe the way forward again.
I think it is because you can measure as well, to be honest, because you can measure how many people take. You could do proper marketing with this, going how
Yep.
many people do take it, how many people say no, how many people throw it on the floor. So you do have your statistics there as well. And what they have a great thing here where they do actually put up, like say, for example, there's like my little poster here I got for the last show. They will
Cute.
put they will put up the council will put them up in
Oh,
their little
nice.
notice boards and everything as well. They're really good.
Before we finish, I suppose, what would you like to see the future of burlesque to look like?
What I'd love to see is what I'd love for burlesque to be is I still want the glamour. I love the neo. What I wanted to do is have remember that it is a political message, people to remember that it is a political message. Every
Yep.
time you step up on that stage, you are making a statement of some form. And for people to remember that. And what I would love for it to do is for live entertainment to continue um, in the flesh, because it is so important. The arts are so genuinely important for everyone. Um, no matter what art it is, it's the arts are so genuinely important for political, for social, for economy. It is literally the punk rock of everything, and it's revolution, it's human, it's his community is coming together, it's hearing a story. And what I would love for burlesque, particularly, is to evolve into something that is just on everyone's lips, and what, like, it's everybody knows what it is. It's no longer taboo. It's an art form. It's a genuine art form. Need to make sure that I want to have, like, it to have an equity account, like equity drag. I wanted to have an Instagram account. I want it to be genuinely recognized that we deserve decent payment. But what it needs is a governing body
Mm.
to actually hold ourselves accountable when we're wrong, to give guidance on teachers. And I think we need to have some form of qualifications for teachers in order to teach burlesque and teach as I said, you have to do these modules, you have to teach about the history, you have to do this and everything as well, and the pricing structures, etc., etc. And definitely more investment in burlesque, genuine money. Paul, give us your money. We all
On pain
want
of
your
death.
money. This is not
Oh,
cheap.
no, it's not. Oh, um, no, I have very much enjoyed our conversation. I think this has been really fun. Oh, I've got another cat who's sneaked in. Um,
Me
where
too.
can our lovely listeners and watchers follow you for future?
So, if you want to know all about this nonsense constantly, um, all of this
You're like,
stuff, and if you want to follow me, I am on Instagram on instagram.com/Seren Dippity. So that is TEASE, because somebody took serendipity and they don't use that page anymore, and it makes me disgusted. And then obviously I am on Facebook because I'm old. So I'm an old lady. So
Same.
yeah, so it's facebook.com/serendipity burlesque. And then I am on TikTok as well, because I try to get down with the kids. I try to get down with the kids, and on learning about TikTok a lot in the last couple of weeks. And I am on there as Serendipities as well.
Woo! Good. I hope everyone follows you as they should. Thank you so, so much for joining me. This has been so much fun. And yeah, I look forward to seeing all your adventures in the future. Thank you
Oh
so
my
much, lovely.
God. Thank you so
Bye.
much. It's been amazing. Take care. Bye.
Bye.